This episode, I was able to spend the day listening to Zasha and Fuzzy and see that they are genuine and they're real and they're going to show you some things. And I'm grateful to be able to share that with you on this platform. So Zasha Smith and Fuzzy Jardine, you guys don't know them, you're going to know them. I'm going to put their Instagram is where we kind of, the circle we're in, and I'm going to share their stories. And I have a bunch of other stories that we're going to share as well. So super grateful that you're listening and paying attention. So aloha.
Like for my whole mission now that I got to a point where I'm at, I grinded like in the trenches and got to one point where I want to be the person or an inspiration for the person that I was ready to pay for learn to pay for trips with the family,
Yeah.
go where I want to go, when I want to go, be my own boss.
Mhm.
Because working for somebody else kind of is like,
It's not fulfilling. I mean, for a little while it is, but I feel like this is a whole nother level. Like,
and there's like, to me, there's no coaching program out there if in like the real estate program or real estate industry where you have, born and raised. I mean, I don't see them. You guys may have seen them, but
not really a big local community,
right?
In that it's,
Or maybe they're shy, like you said, they're scared to ask. And, a lot of us is scared to ask if we're hungry. Oh, you're hungry? No, I'm not hungry. But, like.
Then he asked me, the obvious, you're hungry, you eat? Well.
Right. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're afraid to reach out for fear of feeling stupid or silly. Yeah, they're embarrassed about not knowing.
Or shame,
Yeah.
Like a lot of like older generation, like the way we're taught, only the parents can talk. You sit down on the side as the kids, shut your mouth, and be respectful. So I think a lot of it was passed down too, I believe, But I was always the curious one, asking, what is that?
I try.
And I think me and you have that dynamic and that openness and genuineness that we are not perfect. We don't pretend to be, but we showcase our life and what we're doing. And I think that alone just inspires people, especially those who came from the same background as us, as far as starting with no money, having a rough life. But we're here to showcase that you can be successful in anything that you do. Of course, it takes education. You have to make the right decisions. We went down a lot of wrong paths, but we chose, ended up on the right one. And our core values are there, especially, taking care of your health, your wealth, and your happiness and your family. I think at the end of the day, that's what we're all about, is especially helping our community, but then also making sure our core is balance as well, and not just about the money.
Was there a certain point what was the point that you guys were already into, like your investing and your entrepreneurship, right? At what point did you realize that you had to incorporate social media and it was all or nothing?
For me, it was right when I started. So in 2019, I was already ready to leave my job, ready to start something different, because I was just so overworked that after I joined a mentorship, my mentor was like, hey, like, you have something special. There's something about you. You're different. You're a woman. You're, Hawaiian. You live in Hawaii still. Like, you're one of the few who, my mentor's in Vegas. So he's like, this is the ninth island. You're one of the few that's able to make it happen there. So shine light on that and just start by just posting, every day, just post some pictures, post some videos about what you're doing. You don't have to be an expert in order to start investing, but you can showcase, even for beginners, you can just showcase, even if you haven't done a deal, hey, this is what I'm doing today. I'm contacting 10 realtors. I'm looking for these types of properties. If you know anybody who wants to partner or has access to this, or a somebody locally that I can help, like let me know, start going to meetups. Like there's so many free ways that you can get started, but it all takes you getting outside of your comfort zone. Cause like we've seen in a lot of meetups and functions that we do now, like people are like, oh, I don't know if I should be here, you know, already doubting themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing that you have to do is change your mindset. And that was huge for me to realize that being around these people, like I needed to be around mentors that have already been successful for me to realize, okay, I can start doing it too.
Yeah.
Around, like even now to this day, when I'm at home, I'm just Zasha, like mom, wife, you know, I go to Foodland, like Ross, I'm very frugal still. But nobody really, you know, I'm just living a normal life. But when I speak on stages or host events, I really see the impact that I'm making on people. So that keeps me driven to want to come and do things like this and realize like, oh my gosh, I am kind of doing a lot.
Yeah. That feels good.
Yeah, you are.
Mhm.
You
They
are inspiration to a lot of people. Definitely inspired me to get started on social media. Watching. So COVID happened. That's what happened. When I started in my real estate journey, I did a lot of stuff for the coaches. I did all the door knocking, went to the courthouse, pulled the pre-foreclosure list, and I, you know, put up the bandit signs, went door knocking, created videos, right? We did commercials, linked up with some comedian acts like Khalil Pilanka, Tiny Tadani, Andy Bumatai. You know, I reached out to him, but like brought them on board, showed them what we were doing for the coaches. So I had a start, have some video, made some videos on YouTube, but I wasn't consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I was all over the place, but like when I started seeing what Zasha and then Terevo were doing, I knew what I had, and then what she told me, you should like share your story. And you know, I was more on the reserve side because I was thinking, hey, if I share this, you know, somebody gonna steal my idea or
Your recipe.
yeah, my recipe. But when we did the bus tour, it kind of just floodgates of even more prosperity that came. You know, the people that I met, the opportunities just is flooding my way like every day. So it's just crazy what social media has done for me and my family. So
Well, and then on top of that, it brings you more deals, brings you more partnerships, brings you more money. People want to invest because people like to invest with people that they like
know what they're doing
and who
too.
are successful,
Yeah.
right? They want to be a part of it. And especially if you have an underlying mission and a passion
That they can
to
get on
help
board with.
others,
Yeah.
right? And you're doing it for the right reasons, then there will be opportunities that come, and us changing to that abundance mindset, not, you know, humbling. Of course, we're still humble in that sense, but we also have to share our successes because that's how people are going to know that it actually works.
But I don't think, and it's something that I've struggled with recently. I mean, just now getting out into social media and being, you know, kind of on the forefront of things, I worry about like, am I bragging or I'm not trying to be proud of
yeah,
anything.
you
I'm
worry
proud,
about what
but
people gonna say about you, right? And
yeah,
that's
because my intent is pure. But you know, I think when you come like that, you're always there's a fear of like maybe it's going to be misconceived, you know, in the wrong way. But
And I think as long as your heart is in the right place, people are going to think what they want to think. But as long as you feel good about the products that you're putting out, then
oh, for sure,
that's fine.
I feel like I kind of surround myself with people that will also help keep me in check too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Like your kids.
Oh my gosh.
No matter what we do, we're not going to be cool to them.
No, they're not going to be smart enough. They just.
No, I saw Jennifer Lopez recently. She said her kids don't think she's cool. So I was like, well, if her kids don't think she's cool, then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we might as well just try and do everything we want to do.
They don't know yet, like what she's, you know.
Yeah. Oh no, I think just kids don't really care. They care about their own life. But I wanted to ask you a question, Zasha, when you're talking.
Just go closer to the mic too whenever you're
Sorry,
talking
I
to
wanted
us.
to ask you a question.
Speaking to the mic.
Kalame.
Like this.
I'm not a professional.
No, like this.
I'm just a seat filler.
Okay.
No, but gosh,
How much Hawaiian
about
are you?
your about your upbringing. I think a lot of the women that I'm in my circles that have been asking me, oh, who's this girl, Zasha? You keep putting, like tagging on stories and stuff, and telling them all to follow, and then they go down through all your stories and they watch. And what was the thing that made you feel comfortable enough to share your upbringing and your story? Like, was there a switch that you had to just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna start sharing like my beginnings.
Well, I think the fact that a lot of people in the beginning thought that I came from money.
Yeah.
So that more so was me like, oh no, I grew up hard. And they're like, how hard? I'm like, you really want to know? Like, we can talk about it. So I think for me, it was slow, like a slow progression. And to me now, letting people know that my mom was a single mom. We moved every couple months. I went to almost every single school on Maui because we couldn't afford anywhere. And then we ended up in low-income housing. But I think the biggest shift for me was realizing like, hey, this is my story and other people can relate. And I don't want them to think it's something that they can't achieve because they think that's what I thought. Whenever I started looking into investing, I was like, oh, all these people, wow, they have to have started with money. Like, how do they have all these homes? They came from a rich family, which is totally not the case. And now we know. Yeah. So that was huge for me. And then also getting my mom more involved in understanding, because initially she didn't understand and she was a little upset that I was sharing so much because she felt shame about, what
the struggle,
her part in the story.
Right. And I told her it's not your fault, but in order for me to have the impact that I want to, I need to share about my childhood and my upbringing. And I think a lot of us grew up in the same era where there was drugs, where there was drinking, where there was people in jail. Like my dad was in jail since I was 2 years old. So it's important for us to let people know we still are real people. Yeah. We are here now. We've had all this success, but we came from down here. So that's why I think we relate to so many people, or so many people can come up to us and be like, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing your story. But it wasn't easy, but I felt like every time I go somewhere, every event that I do, and like, even one person comes up to me and like, thank you so much for sharing. Like, that's exactly how I feel. It's nice to see somebody like me up there or who went through the same things and I'm not alone.
Yeah. So I just was curious because it's hard, to be vulnerable like that and just, almost naked, because everyone can, if your profile is public, they don't even need to follow you. They can just stalk and learn everything that you've shared. But I just find it to be really brave and inspiring as someone kind of just starting to like do this stuff, to just be real.
Well, and I think it's important too to really hone down what message you're trying to send. So at one of the conferences that I spoke at, I really dove deep into when we grew up. Like my mom was like, we have no money. I'm like, oh my God, Mom, all my friends are going to the movies. I want to go to the movies. She's like, we have no money.
Right.
So she made us like balance the checkbook to be like, there's zero, back when that was a thing.
Easier than trying to tell you there's no money here. You can see for yourself.
Right. Now everything's automatic. Yeah. But when it was a checkbook, you're like, oh, okay, this is exactly what's in the checking account. There's nothing. So at an early age, we were like selling spam musubis at school, and to my mom's coworkers, waking up early, we would go to Costco, buy candy, sell that at school. We'd have car washes and what's it called?
Fundraisers.
When you sell the clothes, garage sales.
Garage sale.
We would sell all our old stuff to try to help our mom, and we would do it sometimes without our parents being home. We're in elementary school.
Money.
I know. I'm like, I don't know if that was legal or not. Even selling candy at school, probably not legal. But it was our way of just trying to contribute and help our family, because we knew she was struggling so much. So now I hold my mom to the highest regard, and she came to that conference and she started crying, and she was like, okay, now I see, why you have to expose all this stuff about your childhood, because what it actually taught you now and how far it's been able to bring you because of all the struggles we went through.
Right.
I think, are you relating as like a wahine version of
Of a
of
wahine?
Yeah,
No,
wahine version.
I
Not the
am a wahine
milk.
version
Yeah.
of a wahine.
no of I mean just somebody looking up to somebody, like it's
Yeah. Well,
you're
I mean,
drawn what you talk
well,
to.
you know what resonates actually too is like, very recently, and I don't need to give details. My family has kind of had a come up, and so people see me living a certain life and think that that's how I was raised also. But anyway, I was on financial aid going through private school, and at Punahou, I was surrounded by kids who came from money and had this financial education as just part of their upbringing.
Within the household.
You know, within the
Yep.
household,
Yep.
they understood leveraging, they understood having, you know,
Yeah.
their parents were CEOs or all, you know, professionals. And
I was the poorest boy at private school, so I know what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah. I was the only one without Z Cavarici jeans.
You know, now they don't have the kids on scholarship or financial aid working on campus, like delivering
It's
notes
kind of
and
demeaning,
stuff.
that's why.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah.
But back then, you knew who was because we were all delivering notes or working the cafeteria and stuff, you know. But yeah, you know, people think one thing, and if you post your successes,
Only.
yeah, and you don't, you know, provide some context to that, then I think it can come off like you're just being braggadocious. It's a word.
Yeah.
Braggadocious.
Oh my gosh.
That's the first time I ever heard that one.
Braggy.
Bragger.
That's a clip in itself.
Bragging rights.
No, but you know what I mean? Like
No, for
that,
sure.
I struggle
you need
with
some
that.
contrast, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
it's
struggle
not,
with that.
It's good and bad.
Yeah,
But I think if you don't add that in there, then it doesn't give it that authenticity,
right.
right? Like of that you're genuine because you're only highlighting the successes and I think for me, like in the real estate industry, it seems like that's all I saw. So I didn't want to be on social media because all they're doing is like, oh, I just closed this house. I just made this. I hear a lot of people just talking about, I made this much money. And it was popular and flashy for a while, but it's like, I know, what about the rest of life? Like,
You can only look at so many of those pages, you know?
yeah, you
And
know,
so all the realtor, I mean, not all of them, but so many of the realtors have the same, you know, reels about the houses that
I
they're
think
listing
it kind
and
of
stuff.
fell into that rut too, but I think a lot of people get into it because it seems so glamorous, and then so they just go get their real estate license. And I think it's similar to the investing side. They don't realize you're running your own business, and you actually got to learn how to be an entrepreneur. So it's a little bit different, but
I actually just remembered the original question I had for you is when
There
when
you
we were
go.
filming
Okay, here we
when we
go.
were filming the other or you guys were doing the other podcast, the
Which
last one, Daniel
Daniel Kong's.
Kong's
Yep.
podcast. You mentioned that everything that we need is right at our fingertips.
It is.
You know, like all the tools are right there
Yep.
if you research on Google, and just we know that. Why aren't we all doing it? Like, what got you to the point where you're like, you know, you have the tools, and then actually going and digging and finding all of the ways?
I think the biggest factor was I had a strong reason why I wanted to quit my job. I needed to quit my
Yeah.
job because it was taking away from time with my family. So I had to figure out another way, whatever that was going to be. It just so happened to be real estate.
Did you look at all the other things like affiliate marketing and like
No.
no other things? You just
That
went
was along
straight
the way.
Yep.
to real estate.
Well, and because I had bought my first home with my mom and then we sold that. And because we lived in it 2 out of the past 5 years, we both made $150,000 each. We
'Cause
didn't
no
have to pay
capital gains,
taxes.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, like we don't have to pay taxes. I just made $150,000 for buying this house. But that didn't really resonate with me as like, oh, I want to start investing. It was like, okay, cool. Now I can put this into another house that my
Right.
family can live into.
Right.
And then once we bought our first house, me and my husband, we bought at a foreclosure auction, and we put about $80,000 into it. So we used some of that money for the down payment, some to renovate. And then I just went into the bank one day and I was talking to one of the aunties. I was like, bro, auntie, I only got like a little bit money in my savings. We put all our money to this house. And she was like, well, you can pull it out. I was like, how? She's like, there's home equity line of credit, can do cash out refinance. I was like, what is that? So it just
Yeah.
took me asking and just talking to the right people to be able to, now we did the BRRRR method. So when you buy a home, you renovate it, you refinance, you're supposed to rent it out, but we're living in it. But basically, we're able to pull out all our money, so be no money into our home now, our primary residence, and then we're able to leverage a $112,000 HELOC, home equity line of credit, on the home, and that's what we use to buy our first rental property.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like just recently, the one that your mom was at, where she was crying. At the end of the event, this real estate agent came up to me. Hey, you do stuff on the Big Island, and I have this opportunity. So like, it's so crazy. Like at that time, I had sold a couple houses, and I was gonna end up paying back my partners, but I ended up getting into this home, with pretty much none of my own money. Like, it's just crazy how you can use other people's money to purchase the asset, and that asset is worth way more than what we purchased it at. So
you're walking into appreciation
like
already.
$200K equity.
Equity, yeah.
So basically the house was just like move-in ready, and it was a foreclosure.
But that's not a walk-in. Like that, all the things that you did leading up to that is what gave that opportunity.
Well, and then like social media was another big player, because we did the bus tour, and then we did the tax deed
The tax lien auction.
and like people are getting more familiar on like, hey, look, there's this guy and girl just like sharing what they're doing, and it's been pretty cool.
What I think is most surprising to people when they do look into you guys more is that you're not gatekeeping. Like, you get asked a question, you answer it. This is what I did. This is exactly how much money I pulled out, or all of that stuff. And as a realtor who's been in the business for a while, it's uncommon that people who are having great success will just share their methods freely, because it's such a competitive market, and there's sharky people, you don't trust. But because you guys present such an abundance behavior, like actually walk the walk, I think that's what really makes people intrigued and curious to learn
like
more.
People are shocked.
Yeah.
They're like,
yeah, they are.
Is this for real?
Yeah, they think it's too good to be true, honestly.
Yeah.
Like what's the catch?
Yeah,
are they gonna charge
in the real estate
us?
industry, you'd have conversations of, are you okay with the 25% referral fee? And you get that out up front,
Right.
like it's commissions. So there's really something to like, gotta figure that out. But only in the real estate industry can you give out referral fees like that. And then it's regulated. But from like real estate to the lending, you can't give out anything over $25 of value.
You mean to do referrals?
Any type of kickback,
Right.
referrals,
Yeah, the way that the industry is set up is really to benefit certain players more than others. I know that's not what this podcast is about, but I'm seeing it from, like I told you guys, I worked in escrow and transaction management. So I've seen a lot in the industry, and it's
completely
kind of,
different.
the scale is not balanced. I'll just put it that way. People who know how to play the game play it, and they're winning. And so it's just really exciting, honestly, to see you guys kind of tipping the scale, like in the direction I like to see it.
Well, and that's why we feel the need, like even for us, I mean, we could just kick back, live on our passive income, and
you'd be
be
bored. Don't even
successful.
lie.
Okay, can we ask for passive income numbers? Because I know you guys say it a lot, but not everyone's heard it.
What does that mean, passive income numbers?
They know what it means, like how much
income coming in from our rentals.
Yeah, from rental properties that they own.
Yeah, I mean, she's making way more than me, but it's okay. But
you have some paid off homes, though.
But that doesn't even matter. Like,
no, right?
But I'm in the position I'm in because I put my foot where my mouth is, right? I paid the coaches.
You put your foot in your mouth.
Yeah, like, ate my toe, and I had to go. But no, it's like, the opportunity came when the radio station came on. Hey, we're a fix and flip company. We're looking for team members.
I heard that, yeah.
I jumped on it, right? There was an opportunity. They were looking for somebody. I wanted to get involved.
Was it $10,000 back then?
No, it was $26,000 is what
for your investment to learn from them?
To pay for the
part of their
education.
team.
Wow.
And it was a lifetime membership. and I still, have curriculum, or like they still have stuff.
Update
Yeah,
stuff,
they
you
have
guys.
all over the states. They have like what they call that, like seminars. I'm still part of, yeah.
Masterminds
And
and
then
stuff.
anytime I run into any troubles, they
Not in that one.
like they like back me up, right?
Yeah.
So see if I get on any type of deal from land to commercial deals, if I forward them the information, they'll walk me through to make sure, hey, this is a deal or not. So like that amount that I paid at that time, I had 3 jobs. So I was a window cleaner, surf instructor, and a valet driver. So I had credit. I built my credit. I had saved some money, but I borrowed the the Malama loan from First Hawaiian Bank. So they loaned me 20 grand at 4%, and then I had a $6,000 credit card and slapped that down. Going into this seminar, I knew they was gonna sell me anything, because I'm just used to. We all used to like, hey, come to this seminar.
Right.
They're gonna say something, but I didn't know it was gonna be like. They had like different tiers, but I'm like, dude, I'm gonna try to make them.
I always want the best one.
They had one more higher at 50,000, but I wasn't gonna stretch to that price. But it was worth every penny, because speaking to you today is like, I've used none of my own money,
Yeah.
my own credit.
Right.
I own multiple homes. I've done the burr. I house single mom. I got a house that I house a single mom. Local families that rent for me. Cash flowing. We're at about 8 to 10K cash flow coming in. Residual income.
So
so
just so that people who don't know, that means that it's paying off its own mortgage if it has a mortgage, and the net cash flow to you is
Right.
8 to 10 per month.
And I continue, like I do brand new builds, so all my profits go into buying more assets and keep flipping and it's just like started with none of them. It's just my credit now, and like
Right.
all these projects was done because of I took the step to learn from fortune builders and coaches. So
You guys are putting together your own course now.
right, and I feel like that amount was huge for a lot of locals. It was a stretch for me and a lot of fear, because my wife was girlfriend at the time, right?
Oh, I didn't know.
And she was my partner, and it's like she's like, you're freaking crazy. but
She's awesome.
it just made sense, and like she was kind of on board, but then like
She wants to support you, but you're not.
I think she
Right.
comes more from the insurance background,
Mm-hmm.
so not as much as a risk taker as I am.
The reserves more.
But
reserved.
we solid. We doing good. Like now she's seeing the vision. Like
Right.
now we still a little bit butt heads, but it's because she's still on the insurance side, right?
Right.
But that's a good balance, though, right?
Yeah.
That kind of keeps you in check, and vice versa, strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, but it's been a lot better now, because now we refinanced one of our houses, and I'm letting her run the project with the funds that we're gonna put for our like it's a 6-bedroom. We're gonna build it and rent it out, Section 8
Awesome.
people. So
Awesome.
yeah.
What about your course is separate? I mean, what do you bring to the course, and then what do you bring to the course, and how do you guys see, or is it what you guys already individually learned and believe in is already in tune with that? Like, how are you guys coming together to make the...
Wait, first of all, I didn't know there's a course.
Of course there
Yes,
is.
of course.
The
I'm
mastermind.
super prepared.
Mastermind.
Very prepared. No, I mean, I know you guys have been doing meetups and stuff. So the mastermind is actually something people can sign up for and pay to participate.
Not 50 grand though.
Right.
We
Right.
should charge 50, but I think because locals, we understand
Right.
a lot of local families here don't have as much. People got to work 2-3 jobs. They don't know how to traverse. Our price is a little bit less, but it's a cram, almost like a cram course or
Compressed.
4 weeks.
4-week
Intensive.
intense.
Is
But
But you're making it for, these are the people you've intended to help, right? So
Right.
it's going to be priced accordingly as well. You can't price it.
but
You know what I mean?
like they get
The value of it.
all of
Yeah.
like all of my experiences, all of my people that I surround, my team, like I go and throw them on them,
Yeah.
right? They can have that, and
Right.
I'm going to show them how we're going to hold the hand, and whatever experiences she had, like we're connecting with whoever that wants to get involved. That's right here in Hawaii.
When
We're
is it?
actually doing it?
When is it gonna be?
August 14th it starts.
And then is it
So
on
get ready.
Oahu or Maui or
So
is
it's
it
virtual. So it's Zoom calls, and then we're gonna have a 2-day live event.
Or a
So,
couple 2-day live events.
Yeah.
One on Maui.
We might
No,
we're
you
probably
guys-
gonna throw a lot of
Yeah.
extra stuff in there. So
So
Yeah, as you roll into it,
awesome.
and you kind of see the value add, then you just
and
throw
then
it in a la carte.
during the class, like we actually have people who are already messaging us, like, oh, what can we do to start, like,
Mhm,
prior
to prepare.
mhm.
Get
so-
pre-approved.
right. But like I've been reaching out to other investors that may have possible leads that
Mhm.
could turn into
Opportunities,
for our
projects to partner
students that
with
we
for
can
students.
all work together on. Brooks has something that popped up, so we may work on something together on that.
That's awesome.
It's definitely a good opportunity, a brand new build, but we'll see.
When I think we bring a lot of diversity and we use different strategies. For me, I started off buying a rental, then I would buy a flip, then buy a rental and buy a flip, because I already had a really good job, and so did my husband, was making really good money. So we always had to find a way to pay less taxes. We hired a CPA early on and a bookkeeper. So every time I would buy a flip or buy something, they're like, hey, you got to buy a rental too. So it was just automatic.
Offset.
Right. It was
Yeah.
automatic for me to be looking for one, or if I had a few flips going, then they're like, okay, come on, you got to get into something else. And so that's what led me to buying, I have 17 rentals now. I do long-term and I have one short-term, and then doing a midterm rental as well. So using those different sorts of strategies. And then I started getting into syndications, which is partnering on bigger apartment buildings. So 100 to 200 unit apartment buildings. And then I also JV on different types of commercial assets. Like I partnered with one other guy from Oahu on a 15-unit office building in Kansas City. And then also I'm majority owner, 45% owner in a 13-acre RV site that's going to be 48 pads, I think. And then we're going to have 15 glamping tents, a camp store. And so that's like almost like a business itself. And a lot of these connections were made through social media, networking, conferences. Like majority of my partners, and even me and Fuzzy, first met on social media. Like it's just making that initial connection, but then meeting in person, it only just
All of
like
us.
solidifies
Yeah, all of us.
that relationship. And so I think that's always the first step, is putting yourself out there and knowing that it may lead to something more. And that's why even today, it's like just flew here and did it no matter what, and cleared my schedule, because I was like, you know what, this is why I'm doing this. I have a passion for this. I want to share my story. I want to share stories like the one we went today, because it's really deeply rooted into the impact that I want to make.
That was big. This
That's awesome.
meetup this morning was amazing. Just to watch everybody and just, I can't wait to see some of
they
that.
got to go see what Tawa did, like him and his wife, in fact.
Yeah.
The story behind that was just awesome.
And those are the types of projects that we want to highlight, especially like
Right.
during anything that we do. Like we've done an affordable bus tour, like to show people you can actually do new builds. Like Fuzzy does new builds and keeps it affordable and puts locals in there. We did the tax deed auction in Hilo, where you could buy 3 acres starting at $2,800. Like there are ways that you can get into this. For me, I've started doing more creative financing, where if sellers own a property outright, then they can become the bank, be your mortgage for that time being, or however long it is. And you don't have to qualify for anything. You don't have to have a certain credit score, DTI, anything
It's
like
different
that.
from retail
It's
lending.
just you and the seller agreeing on whatever payment. And the reason why they would do that is maybe they're trying to prolong their taxes, or postpone their taxes, or maybe they're in some sort of financial situation where they get a big lump sum and that might affect them in some sort of way. Like one of my seller finance deals was because it was an older Japanese man. His wife was in a care home, and if he showed this big income,
Then they don't
then
qualify.
they wouldn't qualify for help. So instead
Right.
of paying $2,000 a month for her care, they would have to pay $10,000 a
Right.
month.
Yeah.
And so all of that money would be eaten away in a few years
Right.
if he sold that house for cash and got that.
That
money.
actually is happens so frequently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've heard that story a couple of times because I have friends who are on the insurance side of it, right? So they're always advising, like, don't just sell the house, you know, to start paying for it because it's so expensive to do long-term care.
It's
But
a
that's-
generational thing, though. I think as we get
Yeah,
into
Yeah, kamaka.
yeah,
Kamaka
Mhm.
jingo.
But that's the reason why too more people need to know that there are options
Right.
out there. And it's not always like people are like, why would they do that? They could have all the money. Like, yes, but in certain situations, it's not the best fit or the best situation.
I think
for
that's
them.
the understanding between gross and net, though.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, you can get all this, but you got to pay all that,
Right.
right? It's not
Mhm.
just a single; it's a give and
Oh,
take.
capital gains. If you've had a house in the family for long enough and haven't put it into trust, this is going to get into the weeds, but the capital gains tax people can pay because appreciation in Hawaii, like you said earlier, is like nowhere else. Like
Yeah.
our grandparents bought their house for $25,000. It's
We're only in
1.5
appreciation state.
million.
We're not a
Mhm.
cash
Yeah.
flow state.
No, it's really not known to be a cash flow state, right? So thanks for sharing about the investments you have elsewhere too, right? Because people don't realize you can do that,
Yeah.
you know,
But-
invest other places.
Like what we were just talking earlier, we want to try and keep all our money here.
So
Right.
keep it within our economy.
But yes, there is other options. Like she said, KC, like this, like I just came back from a tax lien seminar
Mhm.
because I wanted to see what other people are teaching
Right.
compared to what me and Zasha did, and it was pretty much on point what we taught. They were teaching too. I was like, wow, like I do. Like serious, I was like,
That's
wait,
expensive
Smart,
validation.
but I
right?
think
know.
we were like-
Smart.
Write that off.
like our stuff was like to me, I'm biased, but was better explained,
and it was tailored to
right?
where
But
they can hear it. Local
but
people
we
can hear it.
actually they do it, but they charge like they were like at the end they were charging like $43K, but then it's a year thing. Like we had 2 days. 1 week later, we were the first day live event with us.
Mhm.
Taught them ins and outs, everything. Had our team, and then the next day live event. So it was
I think it's important to realize too that, like you mentioned, there's a lot of people are like, oh, these are my people. But for us, we're like, this is our realtor, this is our lender, this is where you go buy materials, this is the supply house that we go to. Here's the contractors that we use. Here's connections with other investors in that market.
What was bigger than that is you guys pulling on Kamohai and Tristan this morning
Mhm.
and bringing them into that's front and center. That's your main competition almost. If this was real estate, they
What's
wouldn't-
the abundance mindset?
Yeah.
Because they're pushing the same message, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's not even,
Aloha
see, but
is
it's not even
like-
pushing.
Well,
It's,
I'm
they're
just-
just
the
emitting
reason
it.
why,
Yeah.
why I felt to pull them up is because they're also local. They're actually doing it.
They got the same heart.
They're going to create their own
Yeah.
course. Like, not everybody going to relate to me because I'm a drug
You know
addict,
what?
alcoholic, whatever, went to
Not
jail.
anymore.
not
Not
anymore.
anymore.
I mean,
We're going to clarify.
But I just say, like,
no,
like,
yeah, for real.
he speaks better. Like, he does definitely speak, better than I do. But, it people
Sometimes that
That's-
intimidates
people
certain
can
people,
relate
though.
to.
You know,
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mike.
He's not as funny as you, though.
Wow.
And
Oh.
you're
I
way
think,
better
I
looking.
think I'm way funnier than
Yeah,
that,
you're
but-
funny. Yeah, but he's better looking.
You funny.
Whoa.
though.
whoa, shots
we're
fired.
gonna do a poll on this on
Right.
social
Oh,
media,
boy.
Yeah.
and nobody's gonna get to see the
When
results.
I think that's a
Right.
good dynamic about us too is like we both have our own projects going on. We bring our own experience. He's
Yeah.
invested in certain mentorships. I've invested in different ones. So we bring all of that to the table
Mhm.
together. And I think people admire that, but also have more of a takeaway from that because they can ask us different things and we can relate on so many different levels.
Yeah, I mean, because you guys can offer
Mhm.
so many different perspectives.
It's just weird, like how we connect on like when we doing our events,
Mhm.
like or we at like this event today was just I don't know, something happens, like people
Oh,
we draw
well,
in.
It was
we draw
magic
in.
today. I can't. Yeah,
I was a little tardy to the party, but it
Yeah.
was magic. Even when I got there, you could just feel the energy. I mean, Wahiawa is like, I mean, I have a home there, so I'm a little biased, but it's like the last bastion kind of feels very country.
It's the Hilo of Oahu.
It's so nice. And cool. It's beautiful. But just to see people from that community coming and having some excitement about learning this stuff was really cool. You know,
you drive by and like, what is that graduation party?
Yeah. No, but you know, honestly, it's really something special about making it it's such a safe space. It's like a word, right? But like a place where people can feel comfortable if they feel like they're not speaking well, or like you said, you know, or that they have dumb questions, because none of them are dumb questions. It's just a different language, right?
Yeah.
I was teasing him. I'm going to say it. I told him about the lifted Yoda thing.
Shots fired.
No, shots fired. I was telling him, if Hawaiians treated real estate investing and a financial literacy like how they do making smoked meat or lifting their Yoda or chili pepper water or who can make the best imu, I'm serious.
And then we
we're
walked
so
out,
competitive.
and I'm like, "There's my Yoda."
I know. I was like, "Oh, you have a lifted Yoda."
No, it's not. It's not lifted.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
That's like a derogatory sense of way you were using the word.
No, we have a Tacoma too, but you know what I mean. Like, we're such a and now I'm saying Hawaiians too, but because we all are, but such a attention to detail that I just feel like people are inspired that you guys are applying all of the same skill set that we kind of all were raised with, this grit, this curiosity, this kind of like do 3 jobs at once to make ends meet, but you're applying it in such a way that it's fruitful and really making things
leveled up on it.
Yeah, completely leveled up. Yeah. Sorry. I just wanted to.
What are you apologizing for?
No, I don't know. You're looking at me like.
No ways. I am actually one of the founding members of the Hawaii Tacoma crew.
No, are you serious?
I am serious.
Oh gosh.
I don't have a lifted Yoda. I have a perfectly built Yoda.
I didn't even know that there was such a thing.
And saying Yoda is like saying Cam School, okay?
Is it?
Yeah, it's a tall Yoda. You forgot the tall.
I really did not know that was an insult. Insult. I put the emphasis on the wrong
syllable.
You either have a VW Bug or you have a Toyota. So yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's a Hawaii thing too, but I mean, there's value in it.
No, but you know you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Like, you know, we have
stereotypes come from something.
Right. And you know, so many of my friends, like, they're so into their kids' sports and like, I don't know, fantasy football and all of the things like people are just so super into. And you guys are making it cool. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
you're making financial literacy cool.
A lot of times it's our family members are, you know, they're comfortable where they're at, right? Like they get to spend time with their family, they go work, like, but to do something extra. Like, I think the fear kicks in, you know, like change. Like, that's why people maybe don't get started, or procrastination, or make a lot of excuses. So that's one thing that I never did when I came out. I was like, dude, I kissed the ground, never looked back. And you know, it's been a hell of a ride.
That's because you don't have to watch your okole anymore.
I never dropped the soap. I made my own. I made my own rope on the soap.
I was not expecting that one. Wow.
Christmas coming, liquid soap.
Nice clip. That's funny. Yeah. Well, I kind of wanted to just say, like, it's part of the elephant in the room too, is that all of us want to find a way so that our great-great-grandchildren can still live here. You know. Like all of them, you know, because we're going to have family trees that get bigger at the bottom, and so many people have to move away, you know?
Well, and that's what I was emphasizing today. It's like, if you want to start investing, start in your own home, right? Find a way to rent out a room. Find a way to maybe build a cottage if you own a home. Or even if you're renting, there's like arbitrage style stuff. So even if you can't afford to go and buy another rental, I mean, we know ways now, but when you're just starting out, you're not comfortable using the creative ways. So like I mentioned, when I bought my first home was with my mom, and we could only afford something together. So we bought a 2-unit because she lived in one and I lived in the other. And when she moved out, I rented out her side and then a room in my side so that I could help pay the bills, because I was a single mom at that time too. So there are ways where you can make it work. You just like, I was 24 at the time. I didn't want to move in with my mom again. Like I had just been free and living my own life. Right? So there's a lot of families that are currently living together and maybe they're renting someplace. It's like, why don't you guys all pool your finances together, buy a home? That way, you know, even if it doesn't work out and you have to sell, at least because this is an appreciating market, you won't make money if you hold on to anything long enough.
Right.
Yes, it's never, the market's never really gone down. It's just continued to go up, and because we don't have any more land, and we're still a desirable location.
Oh, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Just on the buyer representation side, like a lot of people want to come here and move here.
There was an influx during COVID.
Definitely, because people went remote.
And they realized we can go anywhere.
Yeah, we can live anywhere. Let's move to Hawaii. And so, I mean, it's inevitable that that's going to happen. People are going to want to move to the most beautiful place on planet Earth.
And that's something to be proud of, though, too.
Bias.
Like, we live here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But the thing is, how do you combat that? Well, not necessarily combat that, but how do we keep...
Sorry.
Awake. How do we stay awake?
Celsius, Red Bull. No, how do we keep it? Hawaii.
Hold our space.
Right.
How does everybody that grew up here
Well,
hold their space?
I mean, the only way that I can see as a realtor is to try to be more of a steward. And so, like, I have this one reel that's why I got some more followers on social media, where I was saying the conditions to work with me as a buyer's agent is you have to acknowledge and respect our culture and understand that you moving here may displace a Native Hawaiian family. Like, technically, who knows what the circumstances are? And that's not to make them feel bad, but it's an awareness that I think people who are coming here should have. It's just, it's not for everyone to share, but for me, it's important.
And for me, on the investor side, I think it's important for us to keep sharing how we rent to people on Section 8, how we sell to local families. Like if you have ownership of property, you also have a responsibility to give back, especially if you're from here.
100%.
And, you know, regardless of where you stand, as far as like land ownership and Hawaiian rights and all of this stuff, it's like you can give back to these families. Yes, you got to play by their rules, but it can be done to where you can house people that need it, and you have a choice.
Right.
Before I forget, that when you said somebody comes in, somebody goes out, I had this visual of, you know, when you go to Fun Factory and you put in the coins and then they just accumulate it all. I want to add that in later.
How?
Wait, the one that they fall off the edge?
Yeah, and go.
Oh, and you got to choose
fall
which
off
one
the-
you go. And that's what you're talking about.
The coins.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was just trying to clarify. Sorry. But yeah, I get
Put
it,
us
what you're saying.
two in a room. You're going
Right.
Anyway.
Buckheads.
Right.
But that's the whole thing is that, oh my God, I just lost my train.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm calling I'm sorry.
Fuzzy.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Okay, this is going to be good. So even for me being on both sides, being Hawaiian and also an investor, I like to, like you said, you like to educate your buyers moving here about what they have to be mindful for. For me, I like to educate the local community that a lot of times others aren't to blame. Like you're in a certain situation because of how things are, maybe the way you grew up, the choices that you made, but you can always change. And that's why I feel like it's important for not only people who want to invest, but people who want to own homes to learn from us, to like, we have so much free stuff out there, but you can get creative with owners. Now, it's not easy. None of this is easy.
Nothing in life's easy.
But there are different ways. You can get DSCR loans. Like there's so many different types of ways you can leverage or work with owners.
You're throwing out some terms that people aren't going to know, but there's resources and reels on your Instagram and social media that explains what those things are.
Right.
We'll be making some of those
No,
too.
I'm just saying.
Your loan
No,
office
I'm
is
just
right
saying.
here.
Like, I mean, even somebody who's been in the, I'm not confident that I know all the things that they know
But
on the
like
investor side.
when I started too, like, me and my wife bought our first home in Waiana and was leasehold homestead, right? So we wasn't even on the list. Somebody was selling their lease. So, you know, a lot of people that's on that list, you don't have to wait on the list, right? You can go on the market and find areas that these properties are listed.
Take
that
initiative.
These lease, what they call leasers or lessors are wanting to get out of, right? And move to the ninth island. Most of them are, or somewhere else.
Vegas.
Or, you know, family feud, and they want to, you know, sell and
Go
take
part
the
ways.
share.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, if you think you got to wait on the list and pass away, you don't, right? And there's other options where you can purchase homes regardless. Like, once you're on the list and your name comes up, you still got to get qualified. Is Hawaiian Homestead or DHL helping? Yes, in ways, but like, you still got to qualify. So that's the thing, like, educating yourself, with or without being on a list, getting your financial head straight, mindset to be able to, you know, start small. Like, I'm gonna bring up Indar. I was renting, and I met Indar. Well, I knew him from paddling, but he bought an apartment like right next to me. Like, that was his start. I joined the Fortune Builders, and then I think one class or two classes after he started. So he jumped in just buying something small, and then look at him today. You know, it's like he's buying what is that, strip mall?
Yeah, but that's his determination. Right. I don't think that everybody realizes that doesn't come in a box. You can't just buy that. Like, either you learn it, or you're already innately given that gift of not knowing when to stop or give up. You know.
Yeah, there's no make excuses.
Yeah, I'm glad both of you guys said all of that, because like, that was a very important piece, because we can't keep supporting the victim mentality.
Oh, yeah.
I think that because I encountered some attitudes of just entitlement, that coming here is just a God-given right, and just a disregard for the, you know, socio-economic situation here for people who have lived here for generations. But ultimately, the goal is to uplift ourselves.
Like, they considered it the United States, right? So that's what I think they get the misconception.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's that everywhere. You go to certain parts of the U.S., you know, you're in somebody else's backyard. There's a respect, or they're going to show you, right? But for us, I think it's more about, on the flip side of that, I would rather help another local family buy here, and then so that's more majority stake we have in our own homeland. Right. So every local family that I help get qualified for a loan, that's one more that stays here, that doesn't go somewhere else, and we're buying back a piece of Hawaii. Like, so if everybody learns how to buy Hawaii, there's no complaining anymore, because now there's a way, and you guys are providing that roadmap, right?
When that's the thing that people have to realize, is that, like you mentioned before, they think like there's realtors are like, okay, everybody's competition. For me, I'm like, come, like, I will refer to, if it is not in the best interest of the homeowner to work with me, I will gladly refer them to a realtor that I believe will take care of them.
Still have their best interest at heart. Yeah.
And then vice versa. There's realtors that we both get deals off market from other realtors who are like, hey, they're in this situation, they don't want to list a home, or, you know, they will still make their commission off of me. It won't be on market, but we'll still work something out where they'll get paid too. And at the end of the day, it's just doing the right thing for the homeowner. And then when we purchase it, you know, we do consider the local community. We do consider selling to somebody, a local family. Yeah. So why not work with us to help keep people here if we can make it happen?
I think that's one of the main things that everyone's in so well aligned, and I think because we're all just kind of going for that. And then even seeing Taua today, and it's like, oos, you know, like, we're going.
Wait,
there,
are you Samoan?
Ole.
I don't know. I kind of look like it.
I grew up with all the guys from Halava, though. It's just, you know, I grew up around more Samoans than I did.
It's good to see what other people are doing, you know, like, even if they're not Hawaiian, like
which is Polynesian, is local, and it's so mixed.
Well, and it's important to know too the style and the culture, because my daughter is half Tongan and her boyfriend is Samoan too, but their family dynamics is so similar,
Yeah.
especially even like Filipino culture. So I work with a lot of Filipinos. They're very prideful. They don't want anybody to know whenever they're struggling. But to see that they come together whenever a family is in distress, they give all their money. But at the same time, I'm like, you still got to budget and save some for your own self and your own family, not be greedy, but at the same time there's a cultural disconnect in that regard where we're like, okay, financial literacy, like you got to do this and you got to do that. But when they're taught to like give all their money to their mom or their family or somebody's in need, there's a funeral, birthday party, like give all the money so that we can throw this big event versus like, oh no, if you're the one who's like, oh, I can't really afford it right now, then you look down upon.
Those are growing pains. Like, because ultimately if we get to that point where everybody's has that mindset of financial literacy, then they're already going to be secure together. Like one person's not really going to, or they have a fund, or they figure out within the family dynamic how to still move and have conversations about finances, because it's like taboo. Or there's a lot of shame in it, but it really shouldn't be, because, well, I thought about something earlier. You said something about checks, right? Maybe the debit card was kind of the downfall of that, because you're no longer having to track what checks you wrote in your balance book, right? Before that, I think people were a little bit more cognizant of what they spent. Now, you don't even have to, I don't even carry my wallet. I got my phone. Yeah. It's just so easy to spend money now, right? Yeah. So, but I don't know. Our parents weren't able to teach us or prepare us for this, because this did not exist back then. The evolution is moving so quickly, and we got to pivot and adapt and come up with creative ways together.
Well, and the older generation too, they don't understand the creative way. They think everything is a scam. Right. Like even somebody was like, oh, my Instagram is asking me to monetize on my reels. Is this a scam? I was like, no, it's not. If it's coming directly from the app.
If it puts money in your account, like,
you shouldn't be scared of that, right?
As long as you're not from Nigeria.
Right. Right. But I think a lot of people are fearful of things they don't understand. And I think that's why it's so important for us to continue to share, like, hey, we're actually doing this, and we're doing this in Hawaii. Yeah. Like, it's totally possible.
Yeah. The out-of-state group, there's several different groups. What makes them so successful? And I kind of have my own perspective of it. And it's when you guys were talking earlier that I just, a light bulb went on, because usually there's lights on, but nobody's home upstairs, because these lights are so bright.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, like, what if that business model is done here, right? Why are they so successful out of state? It's because they have a team on the ground elsewhere that's walking them through. They have accountability meetings every night. They end up being a little hui, and they're so tight that they hang out together afterwards. I've been on some of their meetings. It's so amazing, but I think that in itself it's like cultures we can learn from each other. I just realized there's so much there that we could learn from and provide to other people as well.
Well, and that's what we are creating. We want to create a community where we can talk about everything, right? But especially making it work here, because that's what I found in 2021 when the market just like took off. It was so hard to find deals. I was like, I'm going to start investing out of state because I still need this depreciation. That's why I started getting into the bigger apartment building projects, because I still needed to offset my income. So, but I wanted to do that here. So if there's other ways that we can find, and that's when I connected with Fuzzy, started investing on the Big Island. I was like, oh my gosh, this price point is like it is on the mainland. Yeah. So Big Island is probably the last like affordable island, I feel like, to buy on, where it makes sense. And the only reason why that people start investing out of state is because they want cash flow, because it's a cheaper price point. Right. Yeah. So, and they can still, the rent matches.
It covers the mortgage. Yeah.
Over here, you buy $1 million home, your mortgage is going to be now with the interest rates, maybe like $6,000. Yeah. You can only rent a 3-bedroom for maybe $3,000 or $4,000. Yeah. So it doesn't even cover the mortgage.
I can't even imagine that right now.
No, it is.
So that's why people are not doing that here.
No, yeah. So back to that, what you said about having to survive too, like you can't give away all of it. If you have to go out of state to get your start so that you can stay here and then come back, like then by all means do it. Like everybody's start's going to be different, but as long as you come back home, and you want to come back home, then
Right.
we want to be able to.
Or
try,
you
like,
can just like, for me, I think the biggest fear I had, or the biggest thought that I had mindset, was like, I got to figure this out myself. I got to do everything.
Yes.
I got to, work with contractors, be in the, what do they call it? In the mud or in the dust.
Yeah.
What do they call
Trenches.
In the
it?
trenches.
In
In
the
trenches.
In the
like,
tranches.
I was there. I was
Trenches.
almost there. So you got to be in the trenches. You got to DIY. Like, you got to figure it all out. But in essence, once I started partnering with the right people, I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't have to do this alone. I can
Right.
do it with other people and make it work. So that's what we're open to as well. Like, I've partnered with a bunch of newbies, helped them get their start. Then now they're taking off, or they continue to partner with me because they're like, man, we
It
can
works.
share roles
Yeah.
and responsibilities, and I don't have to take on all the stress myself, because it is a roller coaster. I mean, regardless how experienced you are, there's always going to be a new challenge. There's going to be something different that you go through with every single project. And that's just how it is. But that is one of the biggest pieces that people don't really take into account, is like, you don't have to go out of state and buy everything on your own, or qualify and be like, oh man, I can't afford to buy here. It's like, no, if there's a way that you can find a deal or add value to an experienced investor, then why not just partner with them? And then they have all the systems and processes and
Right.
everything you need, but it's finding the right people to partner with is probably the biggest holdback for people.
Yeah, it's just like finding $100 on the ground. Right? That's a good deal, right? Right? Like
A deal implies there was exchange of value.
it's a good
You
deal.
just
right?
found money.
Yeah.
That's different.
Not to throw you guys off a little bit.
I know we're like going kind of long, but I have one more question, because Zasha, you to be able to invest in an apartment building, multifamily syndication. I mean, I see it even popping up on my Instagram feed that you need to be an accredited investor. That's right? So there's a progression, right? To be a real estate investor, to claim depreciation. I know this is kind of on the detailed side, but as you get your start, you might not have access to, obviously, the bigger opportunities, right? To work with the bigger fish and get the bigger payout. But you still suggest, I know even Tereva said, like, start super
Small.
small,
Yeah.
and then learn, and then you know.
Well,
learn
and then
more.
the whole reason why I got into those bigger projects was for depreciation, but you could also start with just like lending on deals. So we're always looking for capital partners, what they call it, to lend funds on deals so that we don't have to use our own money. So like he mentioned, we do a lot of deals where we don't use any of our own money. We have private lenders come on the deal. So you could start that way if you're not accredited, or there are 506B syndication deals that you can get in on that you don't have to be accredited, but you have to have a prior relationship with one of the operators.
Okay.
So you don't always have to be. And the reason why that's not advertised, because that's against the SEC
SEC
rules,
rules,
yeah,
right?
is that
They
you can't
cannot
advertise.
Yeah.
So you can only advertise
Word of mouth.
506C, you have to be accredited, but 506B you don't.
But you can't advertise those.
No, that's
I
why you don't
see.
hear about them.
Oh, okay.
But
No,
I
that's
think
great
you
to
also
know.
have to have the tax appetite for it to be more beneficial. Is that correct?
Well, you have to. So the reason why they require accreditation for those bigger deals that might have a bigger payout at the end is because there also is a bigger risk for loss.
Right.
Like if this doesn't pan out and you lose all your money,
Right.
they want to make sure that you're going to land on your feet. Like this is not your last $50,000 or $100,000.
It's not
And
your
then you
Hail
bankrupt
Mary.
So they want to make sure, okay, you're sophisticated enough that you know this is an investment. You might lose the money and you'll be fine. Like you
Right.
you fully understand that.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference between the two. But for me, I think private lending is definitely the way to get started if you have the funds, but you don't even have people are like, oh, I don't have that. I'm like, well, how much is in your 401k? Your retirement, you can leverage that. It's totally out of the realm of comfortability for a lot of people because they're so, used to, okay, I get a job, I invest in my 401k, and then I retire.
Right.
So that's safe. I don't even look at it. I'm like, for me, I quit my job in 2020. I had $108,000 in my retirement fund. In 2022, when I was like, oh, okay, let me, with my bookkeeper checking all my stuff, my CPA was like, oh my God, you only have $80,000 left in your retirement. In 2 years, because you didn't pay attention to your retirement, you lost over 20 grand.
So that's the conversation I have with all of my buyers.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come in and they want to figure out what they qualify for. And I ask for their retirement, any kind of retirement statements that they have. And they're like, why? What does it matter? And I let them know, like, well, you have the ability to tap into some of that, but not everybody understands that. Like, well, no, that's for my future. I said, well, in your future, do you picture yourself living in a house? Right?
Renting.
So if your rate of
forever.
return on your 401k is less than what you could potentially earn on a home,
Right.
and then so in the past couple of years, I'll have them pull out their quarterly statements, and I'm like, look how much money you lost.
And the average in the past 3
Mhm.
years has been a negative 20%
Yes.
loss.
So take that 20% and put it into the real estate market,
Mhm.
you come out so much further ahead.
Right.
I put them with me. I build new houses. Hey, you gonna make money. It's like,
But
I'll
that's
give
it.
you a shirt
solid.
that says 401k.
Right.
Seriously.
Well, and I talk to people all the time who have invested in the stock market, lost 100 grand. I'm like, what the hell? Why did
It's
you
the
do
hype.
that?
It's the
Yeah.
hype.
Right.
And the crypto and the NFTs and
Oh,
all
I
that.
know.
Where's everybody's not talking about it now because
Right.
they're all losing
I
money.
know.
So I think real estate has been really a secure asset. And especially when you partner with people or invest with people that are good at finding deals, like you don't
Right.
have to find the deals. Like you can partner with people that do.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
My first 2 deals, I didn't spend any money, but it's just having the mindset or having the lens on the filter to be able to see that, okay, this is an opportunity and figure out how to make it work. I think that's what a lot of people are asking, like, how do I do that? I don't have any money. And it's so hard to it's hard for me to explain to you just easily. There's no easy way to do it. But if you hang around long enough, you're going to start to figure it out, And they're like, where? It's like, you're here. Like I wanted to say to everybody today, you guys are all investors already. You just invested a part of your day to be here. And it's to hear and to, take some of your knowledge that you guys are sharing. But they don't think about that. They're all investors already.
right?
Good
One, bro.
one.
Yeah.
Hey.
We
I'm
come
starting to
up with
remember
this
some of the stuff I was thinking about all day.
When I think
You
a
watch
lot
a
of
videos like that?
I think a lot of people don't realize too that it doesn't have to be something so foreign like financial education or like your 401k. Like they like to keep it at arm's length
Yeah,
when it really is your
compartmentalized.
money.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to think about, is that money, do I know how to invest that money better than these other people or other stocks or whatever else it is, NFTs, crypto, like where is it?
People don't even realize
Yeah.
in your 401k, you can go in there and shift what it's being invested into. Like everybody just puts it in there, forget it.
When they're scared because they're not educated because they don't want to, dive deep into stock because you really got to do your research on that too.
Yeah.
If you're trying to shift it around, like don't be just shifting around to
the way
anything.
we put attention into investing is the same way you got to give that its respect and attention.
And a lot of this is like network or, based on your relationship with other people.
Yeah.
I just had a private lender this past week who was very skeptical. She was like, I've never done this before. Sorry, I'm calling you so much. I'm like, it's okay. She's like, I'm just at the bank and I'm scared. I'm like, it's going to be fine.
She's like, here's my life.
Right? I'm
all
like,
my
it's just
money.
50 grand. You're going to be fine. And then for me, I got to take myself back. I'm like, okay, yeah. Because I'm dealing with like millions of dollars of deals.
I'm going to
And
replay
so
that. It's just
I
50
know.
grand. It's just 50 grand.
Yeah.
It's going to be your
their
ringtone.
hard-earned money.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, they
yeah.
just,
No,
like,
but
That's what
To
it, yeah,
save
it
that
is.
money,
Right.
instead of buying
it's-
Tacoma, they're letting them to you.
Right.
Like,
Oh.
I already got Tacoma.
that lifted.
But it's
At
more
least
so
it's
for
a-
me, I'm just like, hey, you're investing into, this is tied to this specific property. So it's tied to something, it's not like you just giving away, you don't even know where it goes.
But they don't understand the process. And maybe we should talk about that at some point too. So everybody's scared of investing that money because how is it secured? So what secures private money lenders' money when they give it to you? How do they have any recourse to try to get it back if there's an issue?
Normally,
talk,
there's
'cause
a
I've been
debt
talking. Yeah,
instrument.
here, he'll talk
Normally,
about
there's
it.
a
Yeah.
debt instrument.
Right.
It's
So
easy.
like how I do mine is usually give them a mortgage. They become a bank, so we'd create a mortgage deed, or we'd put them on put them some type of lien towards the property, so that their money's secured. Also put them on like an insurance, like first position. So those instruments is kind of what I've been using.
Is that recorded on title?
Yeah. Or recorded with the
The deed?
what they call it, the
Bureau of
The
conveyance
Bureau of
bureau.
Yeah.
Finances.
Or to just have that document where, you know, if something happens to me, you know, they can get
Show
their
that
funds
that
back.
they're next.
Yeah.
So in essence, they could foreclose if you never pay, right?
Depending on what lien position they are in.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they're number one, they have the first,
They have the right to foreclose if you don't pay them, you know.
just like the bank would, in
Right.
essence, right? Yeah. So it's same process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you know, going in, that's why if you're savvy or you're a good investor, you can knock down all their walls and answer all the questions, because we invest in our time, in our education, and when we go into doing our homework, when we're looking into a deal, we know it's like highly possible for us to win. You know,
It's a good risk.
right?
Yeah.
And like the only way you're gonna lose is if you sell at a loss. So you're always looking at different. I always look at different strategy or exit strategies going in before I even go into whatever area I'm investing in, and because I treat my investors' money like it's mine, I'm not in this thing to lose. So
Yeah. I feel more responsible when I have, like, there's a lot more weight to it when it's somebody else's money.
mhm.
Right. And people feel more secure with other people, one, who've had experience, but two, who have the assets to back up and be able to
Yeah.
pay them back.
It's like you're FDIC insured.
Right.
Like for
No,
me, I
truly.
personally will like guarantee like I would sell whatever I own to pay back my, like I will make sure I pay back who I owe.
That's why I don't loan out, borrow more than my Tacoma's worth.
Right.
He doesn't want to sell that Toyota.
But and that's what I tell my lenders all the time too. Is like they're like, well, what is the worst case scenario? It's a worst case scenario, we lose money on the deal, but I still have the assets. I'll sell one of my properties in order to pay you back if I don't have the funds, which I normally do. I could just do it myself, but the reason why I keep my funds is to have that as reserves, emergencies, in case anything happens.
Your buffer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people understand the reserves. I've met some people where I'm putting it on my house. I'm like, but there's more than just your house. If you got to buy something or your car broke, or you got to be able to get that out quick. So some things require a quick liquidity, like access to, and other things you can wait for it. But I think that's the understanding of financial literacy and which one serves what purpose in your life.
Exactly. But no, I was gonna ask
You
you.
say Pele?
One of Zasha's recent reels was you guys going school shopping and staying under $200.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't shown my daughter yet, but it's very also inspiring to see you continue to impart frugality while encouraging, you know, not aggressive investing strategies, but really going for it to make more and still spend, you know,
Well,
wisely.
I think it's just being mindful that money means something, because you can get to a point where you just keep spending, which a lot of people are doing, but they're not even thinking about how much money they are actually spending. So I think that's the biggest lesson that I want to impart on her, is that you need to budget regardless of how much money you make, regardless of how many assets you have, is set a budget for yourself every time you do something. And I only take her shopping maybe once a year. So that 200 is going to last the
So
whole year.
if she's buying other things,
I
it's
forgot,
her
man.
earning
Yeah.
her own money.
Birthday
doing whatever.
money, whatever money, chores, things like that. I mean, I don't pay her for that, but whoever else gives her money.
You want to talk about that that chalkboard and your husband?
Oh, yeah. So, yes, last night, actually, because she's 17 now, she's been trying to get her driver's license. She failed 5 times. I don't know. She does. I'm the best driver, so I don't know where she gets that from, but I don't know if she'll ever get her license. But we told her that if she does get her license, you know, she can start using the car, but she also has to pay for gas, pay for insurance, you know, oil changes. We just made her very aware that there's other costs, not just like, oh yeah, I'm going to take the car.
Right.
So in that sense, I want her to gain some responsibility with it as well. Not just like,
Understand
here
the
you go,
value.
you have everything, right? Even though we can provide everything for her, I want her to be able to appreciate and understand the cost of that responsibility. So we asked her, okay, well, how are you going to pay for this? How are you going to pay for gas, oil changes, all of that? And so she's like, oh, I want to get a job. I said, you want to get a job or do you want to start your own business?
Right.
She's like, what can I start? I'm going to be 17. I was like, you're a young adult. You're not a kid anymore. You got to start thinking bigger.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, you guys are working all the time. I don't want to be like that. I said, well, there's
But
other
you don't
ways.
use the
It's called
car, right?
adulting.
Right.
You came up with a new word for it, adulting.
Even though we don't work for somebody else, we work for ourselves and we
Yeah.
get flexibility. So I said, well, there is ways you can make passive income. She said, well, I seen something on TikTok where you can buy vending machines. And I said, okay, well, let's go on Google. Let's see how much the average vending machine is. Let's go and see how much it costs usually to fill them up.
Mhm.
So we laid out all the expenses for her. Okay, if you get your driver's license, you can go and drive to Costco, go pick this up, go refill the vending machines. We'll look for suppliers that maybe might give us a discount, or they could just have us put it there for free for their
Mhm.
customers.
Mhm.
And then we can work backwards. We'll loan you the money,
Mhm.
but over time, we'll see how much income you bring, and then you can pay us back over time. So she's like, well, why would I do that versus getting a job? So we just kind of laid out, okay, this is what you would make, and this is active income from working a job. And then the vending machine is passive income.
Mhm.
And so she had just read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I made her read that because that was something that changed my life when I was 30.
Right.
She's only 17.
Right.
But of course, these kids these age, they don't want to be reading.
Right.
So I told her, well, what do you want to do so I could incentivize you to read this book? She's like, well, what if my boyfriend sleeps over?
It's Maui for you.
Oh, shots
Boyfriend.
fired. Shots fired.
Right? Boyfriend or what is it called? What did I just say, the book? Oh,
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
right. Boyfriend or Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Which one? I was like, okay, he can sleep over if you read it. She read it in 3 days. I gave her 3 months to read it.
That is
The last-
inspiration.
How much
3
of that was
days.
absorbed?
Right. She underlined it because she knew she answered all the questions. So even in the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, there is sections to answer. So she made sure, because she knew I was going to ask. And I made her kind of give me what her feedback on what she thought about the book, what she took away.
Synopsis.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, he can sleep over. I'm like, oh. But with anybody, there has to be some sort of incentive for them to be able to get the drive to do something.
Right.
Whether it's
right?
positive
So-
or negative, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Mine was I wanted to quit my job. That's what started me on that venture and reading the book and getting to investing. Hers was having her boyfriend sleep over. Yes.
Can we
But-
try something else next time as the carrot?
Okay, nothing. There's not going further than that. So it's stopping there.
Oh, yeah.
hmm But I think with any kids, you got to find what is
What
going
is
to be their
their thing?
motivation.
Yeah.
Oh.
What moves them, or
The phone
And
is the
be
only
open,
thing that
yeah.
I can find so far.
Yeah, your guys is young enough. She's already 17, so
Yeah.
just a little.
Almost out.
hmm
they don't want to read a book; they want to watch a podcast.
Well, they have, anyway, but the game. So Cash
Yeah.
Flow is actually designed by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
So it's his game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Based on the
next we bought the
principles.
game for one for kids and one for adults, and so we're gonna play that as a family. So it's been, and mind you, and I just want to point out too that this has been a very slow transition to getting my family on board. I've been doing this for 4 years,
Yeah.
and just recently they started
Coming
kind
around.
of coming to events, just seeing what I do. My daughter came to her first conference, now reading the book. Like, for anybody that might feel like, oh, but my family isn't into it, it's like,
Mhm.
I think me and Fuzzy both, like, our other halves support us in what we do, but they're not all in it either.
Yeah.
They're like, that's your thing.
Yeah.
We'll come and slowly open up, but at the same time, I feel like it's a good dynamic because you need to have that difference in order for
Checks
you
and
to
balances.
see
Yeah.
a different point of view.
Well, also, I think it speaks to the amount of time and energy sacrifice that you guys have made here in the beginning, but then look what the fruits are of that labor,
Mhm.
4 years in, and you guys have this, portfolio that's just going to continue to grow. So,
I think that's something that a lot of the people that are really getting into it and interested in it, initially it's the allure of it, right? It seems like, oh, I can go work for myself. I can go do this. I don't have to slave away at this W-2. But it's not that easy. It's not overnight. Your family lives with you, and it's what you do for a living, and it took them that long, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you're the one having to self-motivate and get the initiative to go do something for yourself. It's not that easy.
right.
Or I grinded.
Yeah. Well, and you guys still are, you know, you guys still
grinded,
are.
still grinding. Little bit more better now that she's seen, you know, the fruits, like you said. Like
Yeah.
it was, I guess, the mindset maybe from her upbringing, or like, I don't know, maybe it's a Nanakuli thing.
Did her parents own a home? Because my parents never did.
No.
I know, but they
Her
didn't.
dad did. Sorry, her dad did, because he was you know, he was in the military, and then he was a mailman.
I see.
And then when he passed the house to her brother.
I see.
But but her mom was just like, you know, always like maybe renting, you know. So
Yeah.
But I think
We did
too, we're always taught that like, oh, debt is so bad. Like
Right.
if you get in debt, it's
Yep.
bad.
Right.
But there is actually good debt. I think is the shift that
There's a
we made
strategy
as well.
too, using it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think too, with that, even to this day, my mom, when I was like, oh yeah, mom, I'm gonna buy another rental, she was like, whoa, I think you got enough already. I'm like,
You're going a little overboard.
right?
Right.
You know
I'm
enough
like,
already.
okay, mom, you know my financial situation now, do you? And even my husband was like, wait, we're in how much in debt? I'm like, you don't want to know, it's okay. But we're, you know, we have also income that offsets that.
Yeah,
So,
that
Right.
is what provides income.
mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you guys want to say any last stuff about your course or the mastermind?
Yeah, what should we say?
yeah, I mean, look, like I paid for my education
Mhm.
to be in front of coaches that was doing it here in Hawaii. I brought value to them, and you know, it got me to where I'm at today from hard work and following what they told me to do. So like, they wasn't from Hawaii, but they lived here, and they were actually, you know, doing deals here.
Mhm.
So not only that, another thing is coming to our master class or whatever you want to call it. Like, I have like 43 brand new projects going on. So I have a wealth of knowledge to hand to all the students that come on board. Like, you know, and I've been doing this for 10 years, right? And I'm building affordable homes for local families. She's doing the same, but on the BRRRR strategy by buying, fixing, and renting to local families. So, like, this is your chance to learn from one tita and one brother, like from Hawaii.
So they're gonna get to see or hear about all that.
Right, we're going to pour all our knowledge into you. So I mean,
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to realize that we are doing this in real time. We're actually investors
Yep.
who have multiple projects, who've used multiple different strategies in Hawaii, and for me, out of state, and bigger projects as well. But not only that, to have experienced investors next to you, giving you that confidence, saying, yes, this is a good deal, walking through with you these other deals are what the next steps are. Because a lot of times we just need that confirmation, like, okay,
Yep.
we're headed in the right direction.
We have a feeling, but we're not sure. If you could help validate that a little bit, I'll feel better about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think overall, you don't have to feel bad about wanting another stream of income or wanting to provide a better life for your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no.
It's weird that we have that cultural like hesitation to want to do better than I guess whoever else, right? But I think it's
that's
just
some of the humility.
we need to keep giving each other permission to
Right.
just shoot
Yeah.
for the stars and get, you know.
Well, and even for us starting this mastermind, you know, it is not our intention to be like, oh yeah, we want to be coaches. It was more so people seeing what we're doing, wanting to be a part of that and saying, hey, can you have a workshop? Can you have a class?
They want to be a part of
Can you
it.
start something, a mastermind, a coaching program, something so that we have a community to get together. We have a lot of free stuff we put out there, but people want more. And in order for us to take time out of investing, like he said, he has 43 projects. I have $100 million worth of projects, assets under management right now with these bigger syndication deals, raising $50 million for our fund. But if I'm going to take my attention away from that to go and help others, there's going to be a cost for our time.
There's a
And
loss.
it's very,
That's why.
right. And
Yeah.
it's very minimal compared to the hundreds of thousands of dollars we've put into.
Oh, you mean you're not
our
getting rich off
education.
this?
Right.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, that's the perception, right?
Yeah.
Well,
No, but it's good that people know that you actually invested in this knowledge too, right? You didn't try to reinvent the wheel. You went to experts. You found the people that, you felt their communication style spoke to you,
yeah.
and put down the investment.
Right. And we're doing this in real time, in real life, in this current market. So that's something else to understand too, is there's a lot of coaches out there, or a lot of programs that people aren't really active right now. All they focus on is coaching, because that's how they make a lot of money.
Do teach, type,
Yeah.
Right.
or they're past it. I think.
So they're doing and teaching. It's like
Yeah, we're gonna
super
basically we're gonna hold your hand, not hand you over. Like, we're gonna show you what we are doing.
Guide you.
Yeah, and like, we're gonna have worksheets that they're gonna be working on. Deal analyzer, like we're gonna help you learn how to calculate your risk, right? And then also, if the live event, we're hoping to sit down one day, or just go to, a home that we can all have a sheet. Okay, how much for fix all these windows, and calculate, and everybody gonna have their own calculation at the end, and then we all come together like, oh yeah.
So we could actually be asking for opportunities of potential deals, if anybody has them, that we could use them for this mastermind. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll put that out into the universe. And my universe is called social media.
Right. When, like you said before, the mindset, you said something about, they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys are sharing all that.
Yeah, no, that you guys are not gatekeeping, that you're not just trying to. So what I find on Instagram or social media is they give you a little carrot, right? And they're like, and if you sign up for this, they have like a $100 cheap class or whatever. And then
funnel.
they try to say, it's the sales funnel, the progression, right? And it's pretty predictable. But what I think is very, very different is that you guys actually are saying everything that you kind of can say in
The
this
value is
canned,
real.
very,
Yeah.
Short reels and stuff, showing you're already providing so much value that I think the trust factor is there, that when they get to spend one-on-one time or one-on-two time, that you guys are really going to give them everything that they want, a deeper understanding of. So
They can get more than what they pay for sure.
yeah.
I think the scams are where you don't get the value that you're being promised, but the value you guys are providing with this is more than what you paid for it. Because in fact, in the investment strategy, you're buying low and selling high. So technically, you guys would be charging more if you wanted to profit off of this, other than giving the outreach.
You mean buying their education?
Well, they paid for it,
high
right? So
and selling low. I understand what you're saying. Gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha.
When I think a lot of times too, if people don't pay for something, they might not take it serious. I mean, I sign up for a lot of free stuff too that I don't really go to. But I think if you've watched us long enough, you know what we do, you're serious about it, then investing something in your own education to really get deals. So it's at our last couple events, people bought deals right after that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just gave them that confidence that they needed to take the leap. And that's honestly what this is, a more intimate setting. It's more mastermind style and giving you real actionable steps. You can buy something here in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some of your students actually walk out and make
Yeah,
the
I
purchase.
mean, we did the bus tour, and this wholesaler came up to me and dude, after the bus tour came, hey, what's your criteria? I would say 5 to 7 days later, she said she locked up 10 wholesale deals. And she bought some for herself, and then she's wholesaled some to other builders. I told her at the price point, I said, hey, Tita, you go make the money, because I buy them right off the MLS. I have on my own system Like, I can get them as cheap as you. I just have a niche, right?
Yeah.
And I don't need to go cold call, but it was awesome to see
She went and did it.
someone took action. And then not only that, other people started coming up there and started buying properties from her and starting builds, you know.
Now she's somebody
It's-
that other people look up
right?
to and
Yeah.
ask for help.
Well, and this is not a get rich quick scheme or anything
No.
like
It's
that.
It's hard work.
With any other program,
Right.
it's on you to take what you've learned and do the actions.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, oh, this program doesn't work. It's like, no, we gave you everything you needed.
Yeah.
We can't force you to go out there and do it.
Right. And I think something that always resonates too is when Tereva talks about analysis paralysis,
Yeah.
right? When
Overthink.
we overthink, we try to underwrite it, but we don't have the experience to really be confident. But that's, I guess, you
Oh,
know.
we shoot
I
from the
think-
hip over
I
here.
think
Right.
when
No,
like
but I think a lot of people
experienced
do that.
watching
Yeah.
Tereva
Yeah.
because she signed up similar time as me with Fortune Builders, but watching her link up with Zasha, I think that's the ticket that she needed to get the push to where she's at
Yeah,
today.
so she invested in the same program,
Mhm.
Fortune Builders, paid, I don't
Yeah.
even know how much money.
Probably like 50 grand. I
Yeah.
think she was inner circle, but
Wow.
Right.
yeah.
So paid a lot of money for that, but still had the analysis paralysis. And then when she linked up with me and she's like, oh, you bought properties before? Like, I
Yeah.
want to just learn under you.
Mhm.
And so I just gave her that confidence. I was like, hey, let's go driving for dollars. We went door knocking together,
There you go.
got the first deal. I gave her an acquisition fee. The next deal we got together, I gave her a wholesale fee. The next one, we did a hotel together. The next one, then she's fixing and flipping on her own, kind of let her fly. But that's what some people need is they need to know, like, even because a lot of us don't come from money. So it's like, if I buy this house and something goes wrong, how can I get out of this?
Right.
Okay, partner with somebody who's experienced or who has the assets or money to be able
Right.
to pick things up if things go south. Because a lot of times in this business, we might have not lost money, but we've had to pivot into other
Yeah.
strategies where you might have to bring more money to the deal and maybe you don't have it.
And I think after you, I don't know why I related to like driving standard. Everybody's just so like, but when you get to it, like, it's,
Yeah.
and you're comfortable
Mhm.
with dealing with that level of stress because
Right.
it's not stressful anymore. And then you can thus elevate and do something bigger and shift gears.
Mm-hmm.
To like fifth
My
gear.
Tacoma has 6.
Oh, because you're what are
I'm the
you the
bomb.
president of
The bomb.
no, really, what are you the president of the Tacoma
The 2003
Association?
brand new Toyota Tacoma
Hawaii.
lifted.
I'm not president.
Lifted.
Is there a
Hawaii
president?
Tacoma crew. No.
Oh,
It's
Is
a
that the one-
round table.
Oh wait, is it the one you guys drive around the island together?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's not the one.
Well, you know what I'm
You
saying.
know, the big wheels that you can't even go off road on.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't know you had a Toyota. I didn't.
I get one, two.
I do too.
But
It's a thing.
I don't.
one Toyota Corolla, one Toyota Tacoma.
Hawaii is a very Toyota friendly state.
Yeah.
It's Heineken, Tacomas, and MLMs.
Oh.
That's a whole nother
Oh,
podcast.
But honestly, in all honesty, like if anybody is ready to take action today, tomorrow, ASAP, that's why we're here. We're here to inspire those who want something better for their life and need just that extra push or those to be surrounded by people like us who have the experience to get them started on their path.
Do you guys have a registration deadline when people have to sign up for your guys'
August
mastermind?
12th.
No,
Well,
I'm sorry. Is that a
yeah.
question? I
No,
wasn't
it's funny
supposed to ask.
because they do stuff in 2 days
I
notice.
know,
Right.
but I'm just asking:
We-
is it filling up?
So
is
the
there a
sign up, the
limit?
signups is until August 14th. We are only limiting the seats to a small amount of people. So we've already pretty much maxed out on our VIP. We still have some room in our general.
Okay.
So go to zashasmith.com/mastermind and you can find out more about the program or go to Fuzzy's Instagram at
HI Fuzz.
HIFuzz
And we'll be posting these on our links
Yeah.
and social media
or
too.
at Invest with Zasha. We'll have the links on there. But really just go and find out who we are. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out or message. Like we're very open about what we do. And if you're not ready yet, there's so much other free content that's out there that
Yeah.
we post and even you guys do too.
I mean,
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate
You.
the love of the community.
Yeah, it's
Today
pretty
was just
awesome.
amazing. It was, but it was a long day, and
Yep.
people don't realize there was work. Like it was standing in the sun, and then there's a drain of energy too. Even it's positive though, but this is an amazing day. I look forward to more.
Can't wait to see my bed.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. We'll wrap that up. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.